ask you in terms of he was the MVP.
Yeah,
Quick
yeah.
thoughts on that. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, these are my thoughts. He's the best player in the world. I actually think something that's also been embarrassing about Canadian media is they're acting like we don't know that. Like we know that. Trust me, we know that. He is the best hockey player in the world. By the end of it, he might be the most talented hockey player of all time. He arguably is right now. I personally believe that in terms of how the game has progressed and where we're at now. I'm also more subscribed to the belief that there's like a goat of each generation. What fuels the goat conversation? Trophies. And listen, this is the best player in the world, arguably the best player by skill of all time. Um, but at the same time, and listen, this is a guy that still has at least two Olympics in him, a World Cup of hockey coming up. And it's not like the Edmonton Oilers, like as long as he's there, they can compete, right? You just mentioned Aaron Judge. It's kind of the same thing. Like when you have a player of that caliber, you always should be able to compete. It's almost like it's on the management if the team's not doing that, right? But at the same time, that does not change the fact that he's lost in two Stanley Cup finals. He won four nations and he scored the overtime goal. But like the lights are brightest in the Stanley Cup final and the Olympic gold medal game. And he didn't get it done. That's where we're at right now, is that he hasn't won the big one. Okay. That's where we're at right now. And I know, like I just said, he's still got tournaments ahead of him. He's still got as many Stanley Cup playoffs as the Edmonton Oilers going for the next 10 years. This is a guy I also thinks is extremely healthy. I think sports medicine has changed. He could play longer, right? We're seeing Sidney Crosby and Alex Ovechkin look like they did 10 years ago still. That wasn't the case for generations past, right? Like, so let's be for real. Like the guys from the 70s, they were like smoking cigs in the locker room. And I'm not taking anything away from them either, but point being, health's changed. His longevity in the game is could be a lot longer than what we're seeing right now for the modern athlete, in 2026. So to me, it's just he hasn't won the big one, and that's the reality, and that's a fact. It's not a slander. It's not like he's never going to. It's just that he hasn't. And in inarguably, at least where we're at in the world right now, our relations with Canada between the US and Canada, this was a huge stage and he didn't come through on it. Maybe
Yep.
not the whole tournament, he was great. This game he played really well, but he didn't score the big goal, right?
When it comes to do or die, I see what you're saying. He didn't get the job done, and I love the comparisons to Josh Allen. I think that's a nice comparison. I will say, if you're a
Yeah.
Canadian listening, at least Connor McDavid's made those games. Josh Allen has not.
Oh,
Um, but
100%. I mean,
I,
the Oilers made game seven. They made
exactly.
a game seven. They made a gold medal game.
I would respond to your point. I do agree with it, 100%. But I would say there is also no. This doesn't apply to the Olympics, but there's no guarantee that you're going to get back to that moment. And I
Mhm.
do think Connor McDavid, of course, will be back in the Olympics, and he'll be back in the Stanley Cup for sure. But when will the next time the Oilers be back in the Stanley Cup? There's no guarantee, that they will be. You look at the next.
Sure.
You look at the next 10 years. How many Stanley Cup opportunities will the Oilers get? One, maybe two. I know that they just got two, but other teams in the
Hopefully this
competition,
doesn't come back on us, man, on like freezing cold takes exposed.
I don't think it will be.
I hear you though. I hear you.
There's
Because look
no
at Aaron, we're New York fans. Look at Aaron Judge. Look at Josh Allen.
exactly. You look at
Look,
Henrik
Jim
Lundqvist.
Port, Henrik Lundqvist. Look at, I mean, goaltend. It's funny. Like I see where there's a lot of semantics in the conversation, but the conversation about the best player in the world, like how many chances we're now seeing with Aaron Judge, it went from, all right, we got Judge for 10 years to like, oh my gosh, what if we don't win with Aaron Judge?
Mm-hmm. And I brought up Josh Allen because Josh Allen, yes, he can do it all, but at the same time, they still come up short every year. And you bring up the
Mm-hmm.
conversation, Judge, Allen, McDavid. There's only you can only do it up to a certain point in your career. Because I don't know if Connor McDavid is sitting here in 7 years and he's playing at the same level that he was, the 2 years that the Oilers did make the Stanley Cup.
I
So
think that's still pretty good though.
I would agree with that, but
Yeah.
again, you don't take anything
Look
for
at the
granted.
Penguins. I mean, the Penguins, they won their two cups. Sidney Crosby was this age. Connor McDavid's 29. I believe Crosby was 31, 32. That was 16, 17. You could check me on that or not, but going off the dome here, Crosby then never made it past the second round of the or first round of the playoffs after that. Penguins are looking really good this year, and he's a perennial threat. But I totally get what you're saying. And again, McDavid's 29 now. It's a little bit of a different conversation than Jack Hughes, who I know we have to talk about.